And if your brain is orienting to, oh no, I'm going to be left, that's not going to work for you. So you have to work right at the sensate level. And that's where, if you're a sea creature, you literally want to use your mouth, don't use your eyes, don't use your ears so much, but smell your hand. Really smell your hand and get the sense of smell going. Then you want to gum, use your mouth to gum your hand, like mwah, 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 mwah. What you're doing there is getting the mouth as the explorer. Now this is infant development. This is not sexual development, adult or teenage sexuality. So do not confuse mouthing with sexual trauma. Don't go there. That will not help you heal. But can you reclaim your mouth? Can you reclaim getting sensation all the way mouth to anus, one big digestive tube? And my book, if you want to really learn about this, get my book From Conception to Crawling. There are lots of resources in there to repattern the brain and open up. It's written very well, easy to understand, with little exercises you can do that literally shift brain states. And so by healing the digestive tube, you can often get sensation and your nervous system relaxes. What this exercise does, and I would say do it for 2 weeks before you get out of bed, before you fall asleep, and if you have a panic attack, use the mouthing reflex to interrupt it, to bring you back to sensation, to knowing you exist. Because with abandonment wounds, especially with adoption, the babies may not even know they exist. Or the baby left in the crib might not know they exist. And that's what becomes existential shock imprint. And that's where the whole body can get flooded with desperation, can get flooded with, needing to control the world because the fear is too intense. So take a moment, put your hand on your heart. Well, actually, put one hand on your kidneys. So take the back of your hand and reach behind you and put it on your kidney area. And put the other hand on your heart. So that what you're getting is a little, connection, heart to kidneys. Heart to kidneys. Whew. Now, another key to healing an abandonment wound, you have a do I exist fear, even though you're a successful adult. Yep, it's very common, because that success can be a compensation on top of the fear. I used to have it. I don't anymore. But I had to go through the deep healing and the letting go of an old adaptation habit without falling apart, because you need to also stay functional. And people can book sessions with me if you're really struggling. I have a link. I'll put it up in my bio, but it's how to book a session. I think it's already in there. But you can book a session and I can help you get started on healing. Well, it's good that you know it's a compensation. Now you want to go back and find the vulnerable infant. And now breathing, put your hands on your kidneys, one hand on the kidneys, one on the heart. And see if you can feel almost like you're bouncing a wave between the organ of the heart, the organ of the kidneys. Use self-touch, use your imagination, whatever it takes to imagine the heart and the kidneys saying hello. You could add in the smile into your brain. And you could smile into your kidneys. It's Trying that smile into the kidneys. And you could smile into your heart. Making that inner connection and stabilizing. Because what happens with all of this is we know the story, or we know something from our nervous system about our own anxieties. If we keep avoiding working with this way deep discomfort, we'll keep compensating. Oh, I'm glad you can feel the wave between the heart and the kidneys. Yes. And just for fun, switch hands. And now I've just switched and put my right hand on my heart. See if you can feel the wave from the other hand action, hand and kidneys. If you can stabilize your brain, stabilize your body, then you can think clearly. Our brain really works when we don't load it with anxiety. And that anxiety can show up in so many different ways related to abandonment. It can show up as an attempt to dominate others. We might call that controlling, punitive attachment style. That's really difficult. I see that with adoption a lot, where the adoptive mom is never good enough, even though the family has, worked for years to be able to adopt a child. When they start to work those attachment wounds, the mother is often projected on as, she can never be loved and fully trusted because the fear of being given away. Think of the double bind. If I love you, and I know my mother went away, if I love you, maybe you'll go away. Maybe it's my fault. That's what an infant can tell itself. These are all we want to find out what identity beliefs live inside your abandonment wound. Or if you're helping others, what are the identity beliefs and what is the compensating behavior? Oh, you lost your authenticity. Well, you've been fawning. Yeah. When you lose your authenticity and you're fawning, people will, how do I say it? They might take advantage of you. They might use you to make them feel better. And you're, meanwhile, not having a real relationship, not having an exchange of authenticity in your friendships. So interrupting those habits is the start. My background is very deeply steeped in somatic studies, years assisting Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, going through her training, years working with the pre and perinatal, and going right into sensation and behavioral. My master's is in applied behavioral science. And if we just work with our sensations and we don't change our behavior, our nervous system won't change. That's the key. So if you know what you do that actually is non-authentic, make a little bullet point list or make yourself a sticker chart like a kid and put it on your wall. And give yourself a sticker every time you don't fawn. Give yourself a gold star when you come home and maybe you only fawned a teeny bit, so that you can actually wean away the old behaviors. And do book a session if you want to, because sometimes the roots are really deeply related to panic and dysregulation, even around feeding. One of the things for babies who cry is, a baby will nurse not just to eat. They will nurse to soothe, to get enough healthy parasympathetic soothing. Now let's talk about another kind of escape that's not the anxiety. It's the anxiety's underneath there, let's say it that way. But it's the oral over-gratification. Someone who, they're always still trying to soothe. And so they might have an eating disorder. They might try to use food to cover up a panic. But meeting the panic is the key. Slowing down and treating it just as sensation. This is the depth of my work. I call it applied neuroplasticity. And literally, I work with brain states and I give people body tools. And I'm right now training therapists and coaches and how to spread the word here, how to spread the tools so that work, people come to you and you're not just running them through a cookie cutter. You are helping meet them where they are. You don't just have a cookie cutter of, this is your 10 sessions, this is what we do. Nope. You actually have to find the person. You have to find their developmental edge and know what resources you can add. And for me, I have 40 years of experience in working with the infants and the children in Oakland and Seattle Children's Hospital, working in the public schools with the little first and third graders. And I got to see lots of behavioral situations, lots of family stories where there was so much need and no way to meet it, and lots of dissociative parents. It's very, very interesting how when we don't get our basic needs met, we will develop habits. So everybody take a big breath and stretch your armpits. I want you to, use your armpit to create an arch in your spine. So you're going to reach behind, but you're using your armpit because your lymph nodes are there. I want you to, reach with your lymph node. Reaching with your lymph node. Yes, of course you can get to the point where you self-regulate without being on the edge of panic. Of course you can. Now reach the other side, reaching with your armpit. Oh. Make a little sound because if you want to know if you exist, hearing yourself helps you know you exist. Now, take your other hand and brush up from your feet all the way up your leg through your groin area, because that's where there's lots of lymph nodes. And we use our lymph. If our lymph is in a fear freeze, it will affect the nerves function. It will affect the flow of the blood. Because, you lost the sound? Uh-oh, where did my sound go? How do I get it back? Sorry, I don't know how to get my sound back, but I'm going to work on it. Let me know if you can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me now. I'm going to keep talking a little bit. Uh-oh. Tell you what, do we have to sign off and sign back on? Nothing yet. Okay, let me just, I don't know why that happened, but, okay. Okay, everybody, I'm going to sign off and sign right back on, so don't go away. Abandonment wounds. Finding the deep imprint and healing it brings relief to any kind of attachment, wound, and panic. Hello, I know you're still there on the Facebook, so I'm glad of that. And what you can do is take your hand now and put it right around your throat. We're back. Can people hear me now? Just give me a little thumbs up so I know. And now take your hand. Good, sound is back. Take your hand. Hello, welcome. I'm so proud of myself I can fix my technology. Take your hand right up here. So I've got my hand like a little horseshoe shape. Hello, welcome. And I'm massaging, getting a massage there. Oh, right up under the jaw. You can use your thumb. And I want you to see if you can sort of drain down the lymph channels in the neck. Just draining both sides, giving a little circular flow. When we get afraid of abandonment, that's when our relationships totally go south. Because, and you know, you do not want to punish yourself. Do not put yourself in the uh-oh, I'm doomed checkbox. Because often our wounds don't show up until we're in a healthy relationship. And then they start to show up to be healed. So that's what I tell couples. Do not think of bailing on your partnership until you've worked with me for 6 months, because you have got to stay in the discomfort and recalibrate. That's what's exciting, is if you have the right tools, and that's why I created my method, Applied Neuroplasticity, you can recalibrate. You're not forever doomed. So now, stroking down the sides of your neck. Now here's an interesting one. The two tubes going down the throat are our swallowing tube and our breathing tube. We have our trachea, which is in the front, and our esophagus, which is behind it. We don't want those glued together like one big old tube, because it'll affect our ability to rotate and move. So what I'd like you to do is hold the trachea just gently. Imagine you're holding the front tube, and see if you can move it side to side. So you're just holding the front tube and moving your trachea separate from your esophagus. Take your time, and this is often a very important place because many people get all bound up in the throat. And you know, it is about receiving our ability to swallow and to reach and take hold and pull. And I guess I'll say, if you don't have my satisfaction cycle, please go to the link on my profile and join my free PDF library so you can download it. The satisfaction cycle uses movement so that you orient to satisfaction instead of panic. So moving your digestive tube, and all of this in service to not feeling abandoned forever and going desperate. Now you've got your trachea. You can follow it down your throat and kind of free it up a little bit. Trachea into the lungs. And just see, can you get a little freedom right there in your throat? And then turn your head, and you can, you know, pull your trachea a little bit, very gently, of course, very gently. But you can move in opposition to the direction of the tension force or the traction you're giving. And just see if you can free up a little bit of any extra throat tension, because often panic causes the energy to rise up. Now, just for fun, see if you can flex and extend and initiate with the trachea, the front tube, Starting your curl and extending back up. Hello! We're exploring the trachea and the esophagus here in order to relieve panic that can come with abandonment wounds. So now initiate from the esophagus. Can you feel the difference? The esophagus is the back tube. The trachea is the front tube. One is for breathing, the other is for swallowing. And then see if you can get a little more freedom right in that first rib. Hello, welcome. And right into the movement. You can take your hands now and put them under the edges of your clavicle. Do a little massage there. There's a lot of lymph here, a lot of healthy lymph. So just milking the tissue a little bit. And now initiate the movement from your esophagus or your trachea and do little baby spinal rotations. And then arch and curl. And now feel the bones initiating. Can you feel the movement from your collarbone into your sternum, initiating your turning? So we go from soft tissue to the density of bone. And then raise the wings. Take those long bones of the collarbones and raise the wings and lower them. Another thing that can happen with panic is your shoulders go up to your ears. So we want movement here. Movement and flow. So we started this whole exploration with our alternate nostril breathing to stabilize the brain and to circulate in the brain, and when you exhale, to circulate in the sacral nerves. And then we've been exploring what happens when you have an abandonment wound and it creates this over anxiety where you're tracking other people. Hello. You're tracking people and you don't relax and the room stops breathing. I would say I'm not massaging you could try raising the shoulders and massaging your ribs. Why not? Yes, hello. It's all about exploration and getting range of motion. So you might massage your ribs, or you might work right at the collarbone manubrium, sternal manubrium junctions here, and see if you can get little micro movements between those bones. So here we are, exploring, moving, and interrupting our own panic. That's my desire for you, my wish for you, that you don't be inauthentic because you're trying to please others because you're afraid of being abandoned. That is not good for you, and it's not good for your relationships. How important is diet? Very important. Diet is really important, that you have enough nutrition, that you're not, I eat spirulina. I've been doing it since I've been in my 30s. You can go on my website and find out what I do in my About Annie page. But nutrition is really important, so do pay attention to that, and especially if you're using food to quell panic. That's where eating disorders often come from. A feeling of need of control, or need to fill up that emptiness that lives inside the panic. So now let's finish again with our hands to one on your, take the back of your hand and put it behind on your kidneys. Take your front hand and put it on your heart. And if you're just coming on, or actually let's start here. Take your hand and really nuzzle your forehead into your hand. Seeing if you can rest your hand, like you can make a connection, because this is the legacy of implantation, right in this forehead tissue here. We burrow in when we implant, and we want you to have that reach, take hold, and pull in the forehead. Now, then take your hand, the back of your hand, and put it on your kidneys, the same hand you had on your forehead. Take your other hand and put it on your heart, so that you're making hidden kidney-heart connection. Big breath. Whew. Suck on the back of your tongue for a moment. And see if you can open up that parasympathetic balance that interrupts the sense of anxiety related to abandonment wound. What you'll find out when you try it. You have to try the mouthing exercise. When you gum your hand, the next step is to find your thumbprint with your mouth. Where is it? And really, you want to be sucking on your thumb to get movement and sensation in your palate. That's what I want you to do for 2 weeks before you get out of bed, before you fall asleep, and notice how your brain shifts. And then throughout the day, when you're standing in line or you're in a social setting, you don't suck your thumb, of course, but what you do is you reorient your brain to that place that, I know when I did this, the back of my brain opened up. It was like I had more capacity for the parasympathetic. So that's the importance of the mouthing exercise. And if you like all of this really geeky stuff, just get my simple book, From Conception to Crawling, and it will give you a lot of repair activities that you can do. So again, I'll encourage you to download the free PDF called The Satisfaction Cycle, to practice this way of interrupting your own panic, whether it's through the alternate nostril breathing, or through the mouthing reflex, or through exploring self-touch with your trachea, or putting your hands on your heart and your kidneys, or even wiggling your toes. Anything to interrupt when you notice that you are in your abandonment wound, because we want to go in there and pick up the little young self, because that's where abandonment starts. You lose yourself. Thank you so much. I'll be talking about this topic all month. Please come back on, share this with your friends, and send me your comments. I love helping share the tools that heal. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on my free YouTube site. And you can find me in my live online courses. So bye for now. Thanks for being here. And let's see if I've forgotten anything. Nope, I think that's it. I think keep trying all these practices.